Quickly.
Damn, I wish.
Quickly, girl. Damn, I wish. Damn, I wish I'd planted that. What is this section? This is where we say you're walking around, you're looking at other gardens, you're thinking of all the gaps in yours, and then you see this plant in somebody else's garden and you think, oh, damn, I wish I'd planted that. And that is what we are talking about. So mine, this podcast, we're recording a little early, but it's going to drop June 6th. Mine is Campanula glomerata, which is an odd one, actually. It's called the clustered bellflower. It's not what you'd expect from a campanula, which is those little bells. They have those little bells, but they're all clustered together. It's technically a clumping perennial, but it also spreads with rhizomes. So if you keep it divided, you usually can stop it from doing too much naturalizing. I've never really divided mine, and it's taken over an area of about 3 feet by 4 feet, which is a fair amount of space, but goldenrod, anybody? So I'm totally good with it. It's I think temperate Asia. Anyway, let me describe these flowers because they are just this like little popsicle sticks of purple flowers and just deep purple, beautiful plant, zones 3 to 8, average soils, maybe on the moist side, and it takes full sun. But if you're if you're getting down to those sort of zone 8 areas, you might want to give it a little bit of shade in the afternoon. But an absolute stunner of a plant. And I got it as a pass along plant from a friend of mine who had it in their garden. And I went, damn, I wish I'd planted that. So then I did. I've been growing it for about 8 or 9 years.
Have you ever seen it in a nursery?
I've never looked at it in a nursery because I'm not a massive fan of campanulas overall. And this friend had it, so I got it. Now I was looking the other day at something with Bellflower. A Proven Winners cultivar came up, and it's called. Let me think for a minute. Bells and Whistles. Okay. It doesn't look completely like mine, but there you go. If you want to.
I mean, I had never heard of this plant.
And it was new this year. So yeah, it's going to be coming out.
I had never heard of Campanula glomerata. Glomerata. Is that correct?
Glomerata. Glomming, thinking it's just glomming on you.
I had to do a quick Google search and I saw what I liked. I mean, rich purple flowers and a nice height. And so anyway, already a fan, about even though I know much about it. 2 feet tall.
About that.
So mine's a little unusual because it's a very, very common plant, but it's a situation that some gardeners might have run into, this being the day after Mother's Day. We've had Easter fairly recently. Do you ever get or buy those hothouse macrophylla hydrangeas that are just what's arrived in your shopping basket or at your door is just a mass of beautiful hydrangea flowers. And you get that and you bring it in and you put it in your dining room table, but it's a plant. And I've heard more than one person say that they were instructed that they could not plant that plant, and you can. So damn, I wish I'd planted that. Don't throw those away. Don't put them in your compost pile. They have a root system. They are regular MAC hydrangeas, which means that they love a bit of rich shaded soil, partial sun, and they will grow depending on what it is. They could grow 3 by 3. They could grow 5 by 5. You could do a deep dive on what cultivar you have, but chances are pretty good, especially if it's from a supermarket, that won't be very obvious or accurate. I would just put it in your landscape and see what goes on. Unless you're somebody who really suffers from deer damage, then I wouldn't bother. So 4-inch pots, I had access to about a dozen of those because of a tablescape I was doing at the beautiful Spar store that's here in Charlottesville for a Garden Club of Virginia event. And so I bought all those. They were in the display. And then I brought them all home and stuck them on this hillside. And now they are 4 by 5. It's amazing and beautiful flowers. So don't be not planting your hothouse hydrangeas. Also, don't be putting them.
Mrs. Harris, can I ask a question, please? Can I make a statement?
I do go on. Sorry, little Marianne in the back there with the glasses. What is it?
Yeah, I have a little caveat, Mrs. Harris, on that one.
Do you know?
I do. Sometimes those hydrangeas are not hardy for you. There are some macrophyllas that are not going to be hardy for you. So be aware.
I'm going to clear up corner for this.
Okay. I'm just saying.
Macs were hardy up to they're hardy in Cape Cod.
Not all of them. There are some that are like, what do they call them? Florist hydrangeas, or maybe that's just a catch-all term for the whole thing. But there are some that are not going to be hardy. They're like zone 8s. And you
Oh my
can't.
gosh.
Yeah. I mean, actually, one of us is going to be slightly wrong on this, right? So that's good. And we'll clear it up later on Clear Up Corner. But plant them anyway. 100% plant them anyway.
And don't put them in the sun before you plant them, because all they've ever known is the hothouse and your dining room table. So plant them or leave them in the shade until they get, just like, any house plant that you bring outside. Get them used to that sunny thing, that big orb. It can be dangerous.
Yes, exactly. I even feel terrible for even saying that or inserting any doubt into your beautiful world there. But I think there is some doubt there.
And you could say the same about bulbs that you buy in flower. Those are bulbs that you can plant in your garden. So don't be afraid to reuse the things that seemingly, well, that was something that just came from the florist, like a cut flower. It might be something that you can plant. And don't be saying, damn, I wish I'd planted that when you could have.
Yeah. And, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it probably is a duck. So plant it in your garden. Don't plant the duck in your garden.